Good morning. Well, we've ridden it in Spain at Valencia at the launch on track, and we've had it on the dyno, and now it's time to give it a little road ride, proper UK test, salt, grime, freezing cold roads. There's James. We're going to go for a little spin in urban climes and take you for a tour of my hometown, home city as well. It's so much more compliant at the bottom end. You know, you can take it from like 1,500 revs instead of 3,000. And it's steady on, mate. Yeah, there's no sort of chugger-lugger action like you did with the L-twin. Oh, you naughty thing. I'm in sport mode. Because it's freezing cold and I want to try the suspension. I only tried it in race mode before, obviously on a racetrack. Oh my god! Whoa, these tyres are cold. Mind you, it is like 4 degrees. There's that front end that pivots lovely. There's so much more confidence in the front end. It feels like it's part of the tarmac, whereas the older Panigale you never had that sort of sense of confidence. It was always a bit vague. This is well, you can tell. I think it's like 54% front end bias, which is a lot. A lot of people moan the fact that these bike launches are hosted at track, GP tracks, and you couldn't hold. What's going on here? You couldn't hold a launch event for one of these bikes on the road. It would just be carnage. The speeding fines would be monumental. There's McDonald's over there. Never been there before in my life. This is what I like to call. This is Brislington, the sort of edge of Bristol, and I like to call this the Brislington pain train because it is painful in a car. There's no way you could do this sort of, constant throttle, low speed drudgery on the older bike. It's so much smoother. Yeah, it's still a bit rough, like there, right? Between 1 and 2, it's a little bit chuggy. Oh, the V4 echoing around an array of shit cars. Nice one, mate. Yeah, it does sound pretty goddamn sexual. Much nicer than I remembered. I think people are disappointed that it doesn't sound like an Aprilia. I can understand why in some respects, but this is meaty. There was a fair amount of criticism for the bike after the dyno video, and I for one, I don't like getting wrapped up in numbers, as you probably know by now. A dyno, just because a dyno says 189 horsepower, that is on a dyno with trying to replicate real world environments, and it's not going to be the same. Look at the Fireblade, the sort of 2008 onboard Fireblade. That thing made 160, whereas the BMW and its rivals were sort of edging 180, and it still managed to keep up with it in a straight line. Saying that though, it was still the most powerful production bike, other than a Cheaty H2, or the most powerful mass-produced, normally aspirated bike on James's dyno by a fair whack. So. Oof. I was about to say I think I'd like shorter gearing, but it's only that sort of initial fluffiness when you pull away, and I'm guessing that is down to the fuel map and the consequent issues of bloody Euro 4 and other emission bullshit. Because once you pull away, it's fine. Oh, that blipper it's a proper blip as well. It's nice, not a sort of half-hearted, just a normal downshift. There's an actual blip. There's a sort of nice mix of soft, plush action combined with that sort of preciseness as well. Yeah, brilliant. Even in these cold conditions, there's a real nice confidence. I said that front end, it's a sort of catalyst for everything this bike does. It feels so weighty on the front, and of course, usually when you have that, when you have that weightiness on the front, you sacrifice rear end grip, but let me tell you, there's plenty of rear end grip too. It's so much easier to ride than an old Panigale. It's more fluid, it's more forgiving, and yet it's still much better. The parameters of its usability have increased drastically, and that's not just the V4. I think it's mostly to do with the chassis. It's also lovely riding around your city, not having to worry about getting bike jacked or acid in your face, or yeah, I do love Bristol. Look, 2000 RPM, about 10 miles an hour, constant throttle, easy. Bling bling me babber. So far we're on 3 dibbles on the temperature gauge, and there's a nice comforting warmth coming from the seat. I know a lot of people were worried about boiling your spuds, but I'll tell you what, there's going to be no need for that. No need to worry about that today. So we're just coming to Gloucester Road, Cheltenham Road. I lived here for a few years. I probably had the best summer of my life back in 2007. We got Lakota just down there, which is an old club I used to inhabit. Spent many a night in there licking my own eyeballs. In fact, there's a kebab van up here called the Jason Donovan. Oh, that seat is toasty now. Oh, and here we are, the centre. Splendid. We'll go for a little ride up Park Street, shall we? I used to play in a club up here. Don't know if it's still there. And I did a warm-up set for Shy FX, and Ed Rush and Optical, Ted Flush and Tropical. Oh, bloody hell! You know, I was genuinely really impressed with the new Olin Smart EC2 on the launch. And of course, it's going to be very different when you come back here, but it's already way plusher. I think there's been an improvement all round. And I think obviously a lot of that has to do with the new conventional chassis, because you haven't got basically what it was before, was a scaffold pole with wheels on each end, whereas now you've got some frame to absorb and help with flex. The whole bike feels more cushioned and more conventional without sort of losing any. Bristol Royal Infirmary, BRI Children's Hospital, big up the BRI, they saved my son's life. Chronically understaffed and underfunded, but they still did a grand job. Yeah, my balls are starting to sweat a bit now. The rest of me's fucking freezing, but my balls are warm. Where should we go now? Let's go and see the Thekla. Let's go and see the Thekla. Probably my favourite club in Bristol. Let's do some blipping. Oh yeah. Blipping and lane splitting. We be blipping and lane splitting and flipping kittens. I haven't lusted after a bike that I've tested, I don't think ever, as much as I have over this bike. I think 25 grand is a lot of money, and something that I'll probably never be able to afford it. Well, maybe in 10 years time when we do the budget bike battle, but I love the look of it, I love the sound of it, I love the way it, more importantly, I love the way it rides. Oh, you Burke. Only recently you're going to move forward as well, aren't you? Yeah, of course you are. Bristol Temper Meads on my left. Excellent service from there to London. And at 1 o'clock we have Fowler's. Yeah, it is getting a tad toasty in the gusset region, but I'm sorry, but if you're going to moan about getting a sweaty bollocks on a bike like this, and that's the reason you don't buy it, oh, for fuck's sake, you're fucking kidding me. Oh god, everything's shut. Just shut it. Yeah, but if you're going to moan about sweaty bollocks on a bike like this, just go buy a GS, mate. Seriously. I don't understand it. I was reading a comment the other day on one of our videos, and they were saying that they'd ridden the Panigale V4 and that they loved it, but it was typically Ducati and gutless below 6 grand. I don't know what mode you were riding in, mate, or how you open the throttle, but it's not gutless. yeah, there's a it's definitely not gutless. There's plenty of go right at the bottom. It's almost like a two-stage thing. You've got this really hard-hitting, heavy bottom end, and then it slowly transfers into the mid-range and top end where the motor spins freer and more violently and lightly. You know, it feels like there's nothing inside. And here we are. Vekla, the best club in Bristol, one of the best clubs, on a boat. What a rave up that was. What a night. And we've got SS Great Britain over there. Can't take the bike there, so I probably won't bother getting off and walking. Nice test here, the cobble streets of Bristol. I know the setup tweaks to the Olins were made in order for the track, you know, they benefit track, but the bump absorption is it's a first class, mate. It's worldly. Just pulled over to admire the fine graph work over there. Nice one, gauge. And of course, I think I'm not sure how much of the chassis work and the sort of finer refinements has anything to do with this, but a conventional shock, you know, they got away with the weird side mounted shock, and now you can have a proper linkage. There's more of a conventional feel. Don't know how much of that is down to the exquisite ride, or how much of that contributes to the exquisite ride. Amazingly, these tyres are like warm as well. They're like warm, man. Oh my god. I've got to say as well, I think it's actually pretty comfy. I've had no achy wrists like I did with the old bike. You know, we've been riding for about an hour now, and I've had no complaints whatsoever. Even though the pegs are 10mm higher. Maybe it's the tank. Maybe it's the new ergos. I don't know. I think Chris is going to ride the bike tomorrow and give you his thoughts on it. I know he's gagging to take it for a spin and try it out for the first time, of course, so you'll get his first thoughts. But I think there's only one more test we need to do. Oh, breathe in. There's only one more test we need to do, and I think this is a really important one. Alright, can I get a double cheeseburger, please? Thank you. Well, yeah, it passed the drive-through test, 10 out of 10. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of Bristol, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed this bike.
So, a rather special little expedition on the widely acclaimed Panigale V4. It's a little road test in a February afternoon even, and it's freezing cold and the roads are greasy and covered in shit, so what better might to take in my tweed and green than a V4 Panigale. So this bike was everyone basically wet their pants over it. Not only the public, not only the public, but the press, the journalists seem to absolutely love this on the launch. On the track, it has been pretty much, people have said it's the boss now. It's the best track bike you can get out the box. So let's see what it's like on some sludgy Bristolian roads, which I have no idea where I'm going. It still feels very Panigale. It hasn't lost any of that initial excitement. I still feel a bit intimidated. I still feel a bit proud, a bit excited to be on such a thing. I'd say it's smoother. It's certainly smoother, but it's still got that kind of lumpy twin feeling, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean it's like chuggy lumpy. Put it this way, I don't think the fans of the V-twin will be disappointed with how this feels. And that's 5th gear fanny roll on. Well, while we're waiting for it to warm up, we can talk about ergonomics. It's actually not too bad. The seat feels remarkably comfortable. The bars don't feel too wristy, they don't feel too forward. I mean, obviously it's quite an intense sports bike, so it's not going to be your first choice for touring the Alps or Swindon. It does make you feel naughty. I like that. And bear in mind, we haven't really explored any of the rev range yet, but it's definitely got enough torque. You know, you see the dyno graphs of this compared to the 1299, and everyone's like, oh yeah, lower down, it's going to absolutely kick its arse, and it's more rampant and peaky. From riding the two, I wouldn't say there's much in it actually, and in fact, if anything, this feels a little bit more ready, steady, biscuit beddy. Oh my god, one thing. Oh, can you see that? Me spamming the indicator? It doesn't bring up the mode. Oh my god, thank you Ducati for sorting that out. That was my most irritating thing about the old bike, is you'd be just checking, oh, if I spam the indicator and it go, oh, mode, change the mode. So that is excellent. Very happy with that. Oh, this is going to be absolute turd, isn't it? The suspension actually feels really quite damped over some of these big potholey bumps. It's not quite as it's not as intense as you would imagine, and it's got a very nice sound. Do you know what? I'm just gonna do a Yui here because this is bullshit. Try not to drop it. This really isn't ideal for a test ride, but I had a quick 20 minutes. At least we're up to temperature now. Oh my gosh. Okay, right, this is going to be rampant. Right, well, let's get a bit of... It actually feels really quite smooth. The tank ergonomics are quite nice. I can grip it with my legs quite nicely. Oh, naughty! Hello, baby. That blipper, it gets even better the higher up the rev range you go. Oh, and it feels like it could corner for days, bro. Okay. Whoa! Wow. That is very exciting. Oh, what a soundtrack! What a power delivery! It feels to me like the power range has just shifted up. It's got more length to it. And I did find that on the older bikes, is that because all the torque and the power came early, you'd often end up hitting the limiter, waiting for the VTEC yo, and this has got that extra top end. And even going into first, it doesn't feel like it's too short first. It feels like a usable gear. I don't know what kind of road you would ride this on because it's way too fast. Oh, whoa, oh, wow, fuck me. It's actually super easy to ride. All of that initial like intimidation, all of that initial fucking say it properly, I'm too excited. All of that initial intimidation has disappeared, and it's actually really quite friendly with explosive power when you want it. Which is probably, you know, it's kind of ideal, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. That's what everyone wants. Something that's usable, and it is usable, absolutely. Oh, it's phenomenal, honestly. Go and ride one. It's like Ducati have finally got their electronics to work really, really well. I have complete faith in them, actually, which is always a risky thing, but anyway. It gives you faith. And these are on super coarser tyres. It's not really a tyre you want to be in winter jibbings. I've forgotten how cold it is. I'm just enjoying this. So nimble. So nimble. So easy. And brakes obviously phenomenal. This again is the stock exhaust and it already sounds incredible. Doesn't like a lot of clutch though. I think that's one thing that wow, well, I want one now. Great. Thanks, Ducati. You've made me want to spend £24,000. But wow, it is intense. Oh! Holy balls of mascarpone cheese. Honestly, I don't think anyone has made a bike quite like this before. Oh, and the brakes. Oh. Nice indication, love. Just drive up the curb, yeah? Wow. Mate. Wow. Wow. It's like nothing else anyone's ever made.